buy, or what can we shove down their throats that they'll buy. So no, I think journalism is in a bad state right now, and I think Hunter would agree, most definitely.
Yeah. I completely second that. When I was a kid, when I grew up, is this mic working?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I had, I'm a real old bugger, and grew up in England and lived in England, and I have politicians shouting fear in my ears since the day I was born, and they carry on doing that. And certainly when I was, when I was a kid at 14, 15 years old, shouting fear and horror in my ears.
And that's it. That's essentially it.
Yeah, forever. And telling me that there were two newspapers in Russia that we were made aware of, and I'm not a fucking communist, for Christ's sake, but I mean, there was a newspaper called Izvestia and another one called Pravda in Russia. And I remember my school teacher saying to me, of course they don't tell the truth, these papers. These are communist newspapers, and they don't tell people the truth. And it was a long, long time before I realized that our newspapers don't tell us anything like the truth, And so doing this movie, that was a kind of an under, the hem of the film, if you like, was it's all bullshit. It is all endless bullshit.
What was that middle word?
Flipping. It is. It's just they flood our brains with this junk. I mean, the only time you ever sort of feel comfortable in America, and I'm a great fan of this country, but you look at the TV, and the only time people are ever happy in America is in the adverts. And they're always cuddling their kids and living on a really sweet shore and the sun's setting, and it's gorgeous. And everything else is fear. And it really worries me. It worries me because it's happening in England too, exactly the same thing. The ads are great and the rest is fucking terror. Sorry, John.
No. Well, no, Will spoke.
Let's come back to this side.
Hi. I guess I'm really curious as to the storytelling and creative economics of a film like this, where you have such big and powerful names being tossed around. Just the value of the source of Thompson, the value of the writer of the screenplay, the value of the star, the value of the director, and where the storytelling, the economics of where it all converges.
No,
I think that's you.
No, because you made me do it. You made me do it.
Well, I'll commence, shall I, and then hand it over to Bruce, because in terms of what I was saying earlier, Bruce was the dream for Hunter and I. He was the only guy that we thought could make this film come to life, and we were right. Hit the nail on the head, as it were, and. But I mean, going through that process, just Hunter and myself, was like a ridiculous. I mean, it was ludicrous. It started around. The book was published in '98. First of all, it was written in '59, published in '98, and then we went through this entire process where like he and I sitting around with a cache of whiskey bottles, and people with giant wallets coming to sort of sit with us at my pool. We were really not well versed in how to get things made, and it wasn't until far after Hunter made his exit that we were able to get things happening and get Bruce on board. I think you should go from there.
What else are we talking about then?
I don't know. He wants to know something about
I don't know.
economics. I think it's about economics,
I mean-
isn't it?
He's put me on the spot now.
Can you turn his microphone up? Because I can't hear a fucking word.
I'm curious about the interplay between all of the creative sources as to like how the story finally turns out.
Well, that's you, isn't it?
Shall I? No, I was
Good
on
night.
vacation with... are you going to leave? I was on vacation with my family in Spain, in Seville, and I got this phone call, have you ever read The Rum Diary, which I have to say I hadn't. And somehow Johnny or his blokes had found me down there, and anyway they sent me the book, and I read the book, and I was horrified at the thought of going back into this industry. And the biggest problem with the book was the division that Hunter had made between himself, Paul Kemp, and Yamon, and it took me ages to discover that, which is ridiculous, because I turned on the internet the other day in Los Angeles, and there's Hunter Thompson saying, I divided myself between Yamon and Kemp. And but I didn't understand that at the time. And as soon as I did kind of come to terms with the fact that he'd split himself into two characters, then I felt I was able to write the thing. And I shifted the girl over to the other side of the enemy camp. I mean, this movie is Johnny's, you know. I mean, this is why I'm sitting here. I would not be here for anyone but him, you know.